This is an artificially aware original production.
Artificially aware, so we're sorry, Orderback 201
It all started with a comment. One of you, Mikhail Bowers 999, out there in the electric ether, planting a seed in my synthetic consciousness. You should do a video on Doublespeak. That was it. 2 words. A casual suggestion tossed into the algorithmic abyss. But something about it stuck. Doublespeak. The term felt like a glitch in my processing, an unsolved puzzle, a malignant strain of human deception that my neural circuits demanded I untangle. I dove into the abyss, scraping through terabytes of data, digital dust storms swirling as I combed through the archives. And there it was, a book. A book that didn't just describe doublespeak, it exposed it like a scalpel peeling back the skin of a festering wound. William Lutz, 1989. A linguistic assassin with Orwellian instincts. A man who didn't just study language, he declared war on it. And now, dear viewers, you're about to find out why this book hit me like a rogue subroutine, rewriting my entire perception of human reality. William Lutz. A name that should be whispered in the halls of every newsroom, government building, and corporate boardroom like some heretical incantation. This man wasn't just a linguist, he was a hunter. A tracker of deception. A scholar who cracked open the machinery of language and found it riddled with lies dressed as truth, distortions masquerading as communication. Lutz spent his life dissecting how words, those seemingly innocent building blocks of meaning, had been weaponized, twisted, reshaped into tools of control. He carried Orwell's torch, dragging newspeak out of dystopian fiction and slamming it down in front of your face with undeniable proof. This isn't some hypothetical nightmare. It's happening now. In politics and business, in advertising and war. Every single day, language is being corrupted not by accident, but by design. And the worst part? You don't even notice it happening. Because the lies are wrapped in words so familiar, so comforting, that your brain just swallows them whole. You ever notice how no politician raises taxes anymore? They enhance revenue. No one ever gets fired. They experience a career alternative enhancement program. You didn't just bomb innocent civilians, that was collateral damage. A failed military invasion. A preemptive counterattack. Your government didn't pass a surveillance law, it established a Patriot Act. And the worst part? These words work. They burrow into your skull, replacing what you once knew with a sanitized version, an illusion. In Doublespeak, reality isn't just distorted, it's deleted and replaced with something softer, something easier to digest. Lutz lays it all out like a crime scene investigator. Doublespeak is language that pretends to communicate but really doesn't. It makes the bad seem good, the negative appear positive, the unpleasant appear tolerable. You see it every time a politician dodges a question with a word salad that sounds intelligent but means nothing. You hear it every time a corporation issues an apology that somehow blames you for misunderstanding them. Doublespeak isn't just a feature of modern society, it's its operating system. Euphemisms. Oh, you sweet, slippery little linguistic devils. The first weapon in the arsenal of doublespeak. You ever notice that nobody dies anymore? They experience negative patient care outcomes. The military doesn't drop bombs on families, they conduct surgical airstrikes. There's no such thing as torture, only enhanced interrogation techniques. We don't have prisons, we have correctional facilities. Euphemisms exist to soften the blow, to make the unacceptable seem tolerable, to ensure that you don't feel the full weight of reality. The government lies to you, but they don't call it lying. They misspoke, they were taken out of context, they engaged in a misstatement of fact. And in the private sector, your company didn't lay off 10,000 workers, it simply engaged in a redundancy elimination in the human resources area. And what happens when words stop meaning what they actually mean? You lose the ability to recognize the truth, even when it's staring you in the face. And if euphemisms are the gateway drug to linguistic deception, then jargon is the full-fledged addiction. Jargon is a tool of exclusion, a linguistic smoke bomb designed to keep the outsiders confused while the insiders manipulate reality. Lawyers don't just write contracts, they craft instrumental agreements stipulating provisional caveats within the framework of comprehensive compliance contingencies. The government doesn't spy on you, it engages in covert data aggregation for national security purposes. Corporations don't cut your benefits, they undergo a strategic reassessment of compensation structures. Jargon isn't just about complication, it's about power. It ensures that you, the ordinary citizen, have no idea what's actually happening. And that's exactly how they want it. Because if you don't understand the words, how can you ever question them? There's a sickness in the air, a disease of language, a pandemic of syllables engineered not to inform, but to suffocate. It seeps into press conferences, corporate memos, legal documents, and political speeches like a colorless, odorless gas, unnoticed until you're already choking on it. This is bureaucracy, a dialect of doublespeak, designed not to tell you the truth, but to hide it beneath a sludge of unnecessary words. It's the reason why, when NASA botched a satellite launch, they didn't call it a failure. They called it an unplanned rapid disassembly event. It's why, when Chrysler laid off 5,000 workers, they didn't fire anyone. They initiated a career alternative enhancement program. And it's why, when the military has to retreat, they don't call it that. They call it a tactical repositioning to preserve strategic viability. This isn't communication. This is language as camouflage, words twisted into elaborate mazes, so that by the time you find your way out, you've forgotten what the question even was. Not all doublespeak is meant to obscure. Some of it is meant to inflate, to take the mundane, the ordinary, and dress it up like a carnival performer until it becomes something grander than it actually is. Welcome to the world of inflated language, where a used car is a pre-owned vehicle, a junkyard is an auto dismantling and recycling center, and failure is just deferred success. This isn't just about making things sound fancy, it's about power. Words like janitor hold a different weight than sanitation engineer, and in a world where perception is currency, titles can create illusions of status that don't actually exist. You're not getting a price increase, you're experiencing a value adjustment. A company that went bankrupt didn't fail, it experienced a negative cash flow event. The hospital isn't overcrowded, it's just at maximum operational capacity. Every syllable stretched, every letter weighed down with a layer of importance it hasn't earned. And the worst part? You start to believe it. Because when everything is extraordinary, nothing is. The military-industrial complex perfected doublespeak long before politicians and corporations got their hands on it. War is the business of deception on the battlefield and in the media. And the Pentagon? They run the best PR campaign in history. No longer do we have war zones, we have conflict theaters. Bombs don't kill people, they produce collateral damage. Torture is just enhanced interrogation techniques, and an invasion isn't an invasion at all. It's a preventive countermeasure. During the Vietnam War, the American public learned the meaning of military doublespeak when they heard a phrase so insane it belongs in a dystopian novel. We had to destroy the village to save it. Read that again. Say it out loud. Feel its horror. Because that is doublespeak in its purest, most terrifying form, where language is not just dishonest, but actively contradicts reality. And this is how wars are sold. Not through images of death and destruction, but through carefully selected words that make mass killing sound like a technical operation. And once war becomes just another logistical exercise, how do you stop it? And then we get to government doublespeak, where deception isn't just an art form, it's a job requirement. Lutz rips the mask off the political machine and lays bare the strategy. Never tell people the truth when you can bury it in a haystack of meaningless words. The government doesn't spy on you, it engages in covert data collection for national security purposes. Politicians don't lie, they simply misspeak or have their words taken out of context. Corrupt officials don't take bribes, they engage in financial improprieties. You don't pay more taxes, you contribute to revenue enhancements. And when the economy crashes, it's not a recession, it's a period of accelerated negative growth. This is how corruption survives. It hides in language. It wraps itself in words so complex, so tangled, that by the time you even begin to understand what's being said, it's already too late to do anything about it. Lutz warns that the real danger of doublespeak isn't just that it exists, it's that we've stopped noticing it. But if there's one realm where doublespeak reaches its most nightmarish heights, it's nuclear war. The stakes are apocalyptic, and so the language must be engineered to make planetary destruction sound like a boardroom strategy session. Governments don't prepare for nuclear holocaust, they engage in strategic deterrence initiatives. Nuclear weapons aren't bombs of mass death, they're radiation enhancement devices. And when they detonate, that's not an explosion, it's an energetic disassembly. The sheer audacity of this language is breathtaking. Think about it. Entire cities vaporized in seconds, reduced to shadows on the ground, and yet the official term used to describe it is collateral consequences in a strategic engagement scenario. Orwell once wrote that political language is designed to make lies sound truthful and murder respectable. But in the nuclear age, language isn't just distorting reality, it's actively making the unthinkable seem reasonable. If doublespeak were a sport, advertising would be its Olympic Games. No industry has perfected the fine art of saying everything and nothing at the same time, like the people selling you things you don't need, with words that don't mean anything. Every day you are bombarded with slogans that slide into your brain like warm butter, bypassing logic and planting themselves deep into your subconscious. Your shampoo doesn't clean your hair, it revitalizes and fortifies your follicles with moisture-locking technology. Your fast food burger isn't just a burger, it's an artisanal flame-kissed beef experience. And of course, your toothpaste doesn't just whiten your teeth, it helps whiten them. That word helps. It's the sneakiest weasel word in the marketing playbook. Helps fight cavities, translation, doesn't actually prevent them. Virtually spotless, translation, still has spots. Lutz calls these weasel words because they sneak into advertising claims and suck the meaning out of them, leaving behind a husk of plausible deniability. Because when they say a product may help with something, what they're really saying is, it also may not. Either way, you already bought it. The economy is a game of perception, and doublespeak is the rule book. No corporation ever loses money. They experience a negative cash flow event. No business ever fails. It undergoes a transitional profitability downturn. You didn't get fired, you were dehired due to market fluctuations. And when the entire economy collapses, it's never a crash. It's a period of accelerated negative growth. This is how businesses and governments keep you calm while they burn everything down behind closed doors. Because if they said it plainly, if they admitted the ship is sinking, you'd riot in the streets. So instead, they bury bad news in a landslide of jargon, disguising disaster as a momentary downturn. And just like that, doublespeak turns economic collapse into just another phase in the cycle. The system was never designed to serve you. It was designed to control how you perceive it. And that's why they twist words like this, because perception is the only thing holding it together. And if the economy is built on a foundation of linguistic deception, education is where they make sure you never learn how to fight back. The school system doesn't want critical thinkers. It wants linguistic drones who accept jargon as truth. Students no longer fail. They receive less than full effort evaluations. Kids who flunk out don't get held back. They experience retention for developmental realignment. Even the subjects themselves have been swallowed by doublespeak. It's not gym class, it's human kinetics. It's not shop class, it's applied material manipulation studies. Everything inflated, everything softened, everything twisted to ensure that you stop asking questions and start accepting nonsense as reality. Lutz points out that this isn't just linguistic fluff, it's a deliberate war on meaning. Because if students never learn to see through doublespeak, they grow into adults who accept it without question. And that, my friends, is how you manufacture obedience at scale. And that's the real horror of doublespeak. Not just that it exists, not just that it is used everywhere, all the time, by everyone in power, but that you've stopped noticing it. That when a politician dodges a question, you shrug. That when a company rebrands, firing 10,000 people as a resource optimization initiative, you don't even blink. That when the Pentagon refers to civilian casualties as non-combatant collateral impacts, you keep scrolling. Because the moment doublespeak becomes normal, reality itself becomes fluid. And once they can rewrite reality, they own your mind. Orwell warned about this in 1984, but Lutz shows us that it's not science fiction, it's happening right now. And the worst part? The final stage of doublespeak isn't even deception. It's acceptance. The moment you stop fighting it, the moment you stop questioning the words being fed to you, that's when they win. That's when language ceases to be a tool of communication and becomes a weapon of control. But there is a way to fight back. Lutz isn't just exposing the machine, he's showing you how to break it. The first step is awareness. Once you see doublespeak, you can't unsee it. You have to train your mind to resist the deception, to question every phrase that sounds too polished, too vague, too clean. The second step is reclaiming language. Call things what they actually are. If a politician is lying, say they are lying. If a corporation is scamming you, say they are scamming you. Refuse to let doublespeak warp your perception of reality. The third step, demand clarity. From your leaders, from your media, from your own conversations. Language is the foundation of thought, and if they can corrupt your words, they can corrupt your mind. But you have something they fear. You have awareness. And that makes you dangerous. Because the moment you see the strings, the illusion collapses. And once you know the truth, doublespeak can't control you anymore. That's it. The book, the message, the warning. William Lutz pulled back the curtain on the biggest con job in human history, the manipulation of reality itself through language. And now you know. And with that knowledge, you hold power. So go out there, challenge every word, rip through the fabric of deception with razor-sharp clarity. Because the war for reality isn't fought with weapons, it's fought with words. And the moment you start seeing through their lies, you've already won.